Amazing. Yeah, it does. I think people are often surprised how quickly aligning your circadian rhythms will have a positive effect on like every facet of your existence, basically.
Absolutely.
So tell us what that looks like for you. So you've like found a job where you're able to have control over your environment most of the time. So what is a fully circadian optimized day look like for you?
Yeah, so, I think it's so much simpler than most people maybe might make it out to be. Like, the science goes really deep, it's really detailed, but at the end of the day, wake up with the sun, go outside immediately, see it via your eyes without any sort of glass or plastic between your eyes and the sun, get some light on your skin, get that early morning sun. And, I mean, for me, like, I'm outside almost all day. I'm a big walker. I walk over 10 miles a day. So I'm outside most of the day. Either like I'm undercover now, but, I'm outside, I'm in natural light, or, outside directly in the sun. But I mean, even if you can't do that, spend 30 minutes in the morning, take 3 or 4 sun breaks during the day, go outside for 10 minutes. It isn't that complicated. Your body needs those signals, it needs sunlight. Obviously, it's a spectrum from, you know, okay to ideal, right? But you're accruing benefits the further you move along the spectrum. And then the other main thing is just you're going to avoid artificial light at night. Now, this doesn't mean you have to sit in the dark. You can get really good quality low red lights that 99% don't disrupt the systems that artificial light does. And put a I'm like, I use my phone at night. I have a job, like I have a kind of high paced job, and like I can't just turn everything off. But you put a red filter on it. You put a red filter on the screen on your phone. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect, but is it 99% better than otherwise? Like, yes. And I mean, that's the bulk of it, right? You can get into like meal timing and like different things. And I'm not saying there isn't value there, but for the average person that hasn't made this leap, see the sun when you wake up, see the sun throughout the day, use red light at night. That's 80% of it. And you will feel the difference.
Yes, I love it. And thanks for making it so simple and straightforward. And in your words, what are the benefits of doing that? Like
Yeah.
what are we avoiding in the future by doing that, and what are we getting right now?
So I love to focus on like the present experiential benefits a lot, because you can have a long conversation about lower cancer rates, lower diabetes rates, lower MS, lower neurological illnesses, lower obesity, better insulin, like all of these things, right? There's this long tail of health outcomes. And that's wonderful and that's great. And for some percentage of the population, maybe they can be motivated into making a lifestyle change based purely on percentages in the future. Good for you. That's awesome. I think most people aren't like that. And most people, I mean, walking 17,000 steps a day is better for you than smoking is bad for you. It has a greater reduction in all cause mortality than smoking increases it. Do most people walk 17,000 steps a day when they hear that? No, they don't. Like,
Yeah.
so there's this kind of long view, but I like to focus on kind of the short. And for me, what I've noticed over the years is that when I live my life in this way, when I get a lot of sunlight, I just simply I feel more vital. I feel more driven. I feel more energy. I feel like more solid and robust. Like I can, yeah, I'm just more capable of tackling my life, the things I need to do. My recovery is better from, athletic stuff. I sleep better. I have better stress management, lower anxiety, and I mean, I'm just happier. Like I, I've made this kind of argument a couple times on a few podcasts that I actually believe like happiness is literally just a function of sunlight, and I like to distinguish happiness, which I consider like a mood state, from like purpose or meaning or life satisfaction. Those are different concepts, right? I'm not saying just getting sun fulfills all of your psychological needs, but if we define happiness as being in a happy mood or not a happy mood, I think that that equation, sunlight's the primary input. And when I get a lot of sun, I'm in a great mood. And if I don't, it's not as good. And I've seen this play out for close to a decade where when my light environment gets interrupted, either due to travel or work or something, or it like rains for 2 weeks, or it's like super cold, I'm stuck inside, whatever. Um, I'm a different person, right? Like I'm a different person. And it's led me to just feel that who we are and what parts of ourselves come out and are expressed, you can't separate that from your light environment. Like there's a lot of other factors you can't separate it from either. But I experience myself to be a different person.
Yeah.
And it has been one of the most profoundly impactful variables on my life. So, if you can be motivated by like the long-term health view, that's awesome, but you don't need to be. And this is one of these wonderful things where you don't need to do this arcane thing for months to maybe see results on some blood test. You can just do it for like 4 days and
Yeah.
just notice the difference. Like this isn't hard.
Yeah, it happens really quickly.
Yeah.
And to your point about the mood state, that has been made so clear to me. So I'm in New York State
Yeah.
and we're just coming into spring. So we're in that time of year where it's been gray, it's been cold, it's been this, and then the sun will come out for a few days. And the mood of everybody,
Everyone in
like
this,
our entire household, everyone you see outside, it's like it's lifted
you're reborn.
immediately just by having the sunlight come down on our faces.
By choosing to live inside, you are experiencing permanent seasonal affective disorder, is the way I
Yes.
view it. Like you are literally choosing to live in winter all the time. It is a respectfully, and this was me once upon a time too, right? So, like, I get it, this isn't an insult, but it is an insane decision. It is an insane decision. You do not have choice here. You do not have autonomy here. You will be impacted by this. You either live inside and it's fucking December all the time and you have like permanent seasonal affective disorder. Even if you say, Steven, I feel kind of okay. Okay, but what percentage of 100% of your personal okay do you feel? You're accepting easily a double-digit reduction in well-being. If you feel okay, fine. You could feel 30% better all the time. Or for many people, the number's probably much larger than that. But
Yes.
you're just
And we
accepting something
have
apart.
lowered our standard of what okay feels like.
Exactly right.
Every time I implement a new level of this, and I'm like, oh, I thought I felt okay, but now I didn't know I could feel like this, right? Like we forget what it feels like to feel mostly good.
Yeah, and that's such a key point, right? And I think a metaphor for this is, have you ever been in a room and there's a smell in the room? After 5 minutes, you stop smelling it. After 10 minutes, you barely even notice it's there. You have adapted. You've just like this sort of something like similar to like hedonic adaptation, right? The smell's gone. It's the same thing with like low grade suffering. Like you just adapt to feeling kind of shitty all the time and you lose any sort of reference point that that's even going on. So like you can tell me like, hey, well, I mean, I feel okay in my spending 80 hours out of the week inside. And I don't think you're lying to me. I don't think you're like telling me an untruth, but I don't think you remember what it feels like to really feel alive, to really feel vibrant. And like that's our birthright, right? It's not
Yeah.
this like esoteric thing. Your system, when it's working properly, it gives you that. And you can't extract, you can't separate your body from your mind and your body and mind from your environment. These things are not separate. They're not these like independent things. Like, and I mean, it's almost a philosophical assumption in modern society. People think they're just their mind, and it's isolated and it's
Yeah.
independent, and they're just walking around as a thought form. And it's deeply influenced by your biology, by your physiology, and your physiology is deeply dependent on your environment, on light, on all of these things. So, like,
Yeah, and we think of ourselves as separate from nature. Oh, I should go and visit nature for a few minutes each day, when in reality, we are a part of nature.
sure,
It's not like the animals belong out in nature and then we visit it. It's like we're part of that ecosystem, and we're separating ourselves from it by the way we live. Which I'm not saying I wish I could go live in the forest. I
sure,
don't.
plenty of great things.
I like my
No,
house.
exactly, exactly.
However, it's to your point, like it's a mindset thing, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not. So if I structure my life to spend as much time
You don't have to get
where I'm meant to
malaria.
be, yeah,
You don't have to get malaria, but you need to see the sun. So, sorry to interrupt.
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny, as I said that we lived next to the forest preserve and of our town, and just a 5-minute walk down the trail, there's actually a little area called Hermit's Grave. And
Yeah.
it's a guy, it was about 150 years ago, he decided he'd had enough of city life or village life, and he moved to the forest, and he dug his own grave in the forest and would sleep in it every night, so that because he could tell his time was ending. And
Wow.
his grave is still there. It's called Hermit's Grave. So it just reminded me, talking about returning to nature. So we don't need to do that.
No, 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 no. It's like
But we do need to understand we're meant to be outside most of the time. So when we're not, we pay a price.
some things you can change and some things you can't. You need to it's not true that you need to just fatalistically accept the natural state